Hi, it's Luke. So today I'm going to be covering my multiversal hierarchy, which which is consists of 10 levels. Yeah, hearing that you might think it's one of those of level videos, whatever. So there are 10 levels, and the first four kind of go together. This is basically called that I like to call the mortal tier. So, starting off at the bottom and going up, number 10 is the bottom, which are average, everyday humans, no superpowers, nothing really special, just average humans, nothing really special. And then above that is the above average humans, which are humans who are slightly more adaptable, higher intelligence, more specialties. Like, don't know what else to say about that. That's pretty basic. So yeah, these first four aren't going to be really much to explain. They're kind of they're the four lower tiers, so they're kind of basic. But above that are super soldiers, which are basically like Captain America, where it's like they have above human strength, speed, agility, durability, senses, fighting skills. I don't know what else to say about that. But number 7 has a little more description to them. That is the peak human tier. That would be like the strongest humans on Earth. That would be like the martial artists like Baki, Yujiro Hanma from anime, or like Jin Kazama, Oma Takita. So basically, it's basically the strongest a human can possibly get without becoming overpowered, really. But to break away from that level, these next two levels kind of also go together. So, so level 6. Level 6 is the Cosmic Mortal tier. That is when a human has transcended normal mortal levels and has gained superhuman abilities that are considered to be unnatural for a normal person. Powers that would be considered unnatural. Yeah, I just noticed that Star Wars reference. Anyway, Cosmic Mortals, that would be like Goku from Dragon Ball, Saitama, Superman. Basically, most of the characters that you see from fiction fall under this tier. And honestly, that's where most of my characters would basically be if not for my story scaling of most of my MCs. I'll get to that later. Number 5 is myths and legends. That would be like the gods of myth, like Zeus, Odin, like the Olympians, Asgardians, Egyptians, Sun Wukong. Literally any kind of myth or legend you can think of fits under this tier. And what also fits under this tier is the mythological creatures that insists of dragons like Elatros, the phoenix, griffins, unicorns, Pegasus. Basically, fairy tale creatures, and the mythological gods fit into this tier. And well, this is when the list starts getting a little more I don't know, self-explanatory. So for like level 4 is I just listed as angels. That's basically the the baseline angels. Nothing, not much to say there. Number 3, concept beings. that is when it gets a little more complicated to explain. So, a concept being are basically godlike beings that, and I say godlike, they're not actual gods, but they seem like gods because of their power levels and their existence in the universe beyond the mortal plane. And the reason why this tier is above angels is because tier 4 are basic angels. I'm not saying that anyone who is angel level can't combat someone who is in the concept tier level. I'm just saying that the concept it's more about complexity than power range, really. So concepts like my personal character that I've mentioned, Genesis, God of Evolution, the Seven Endless, Eternity from Marvel, uh, literally those kinds of beings that are represent a certain concept in the universe, like the Seven Endless. Let me see if I can name all seven. Let's see. We have death, destiny, dream, destruction, um, depression, or no, is it depression or despair? Despair, delirium, and my the one I hate the most, desire. Those are the seven endless, each one representing a concept of the universe, and Genesis fits right in there because he, spoiler alert, he basically becomes the embodiment of evolution itself. So, yeah. And in Genesis, honestly, he is one of my favorite characters to write because he isn't good, he isn't evil, he's more like, in the way it's explains is that Genesis is just such a unique being. No one knows how he was created. He's not no one knows if he was created by God or Lucifer, like if he was created from good, created from evil. All we know is that he was a human who was the first human to have supernatural abilities according to the beginning of the storyline. And the further he goes on, it's like he starts out being emotionless, trying to understand human emotions. And then later on, it's revealed that when he does things, it's not for good, it's not for evil. It's more like what seems logical to him in the moment. Uh, this video isn't supposed to be about Genesis, so I probably should move on. But these last two tiers, honestly, it's not much to explain about. It's so level 2, the seraphim, cherubim, thrones. And honestly, with how powerful, and I also listed Archangel Michael and Lucifer Morningstar in this tier just because of how powerful they are. And it's also a little confusing because Archangel Michael is an archangel, but his power and authority seems to be more in that level of the seraphims. And also he's the angel with the most authority in heaven, basically, if you don't consider that the nine levels of angels. I've seen a video on that, and it seems to me that the angels that are the closest to Earth tend to be the most powerful, or something like that, or I don't know. It's a confusing list, but the point is that Archangel Michael, he from what I can tell from like a lot of things, honestly, is that he's just so overpowered. Like, he is the leader of the angel army, and if you want to believe that there was a war in heaven before the story of Genesis, is that Lucifer rebelled against God with 1/3 of the angels and fought against Michael himself, and Archangel Michael defeated him and was the one to banish him down on God's orders. But to be honest, no one really knows that that was a true story into the Bible, because the Bible literally starts like saying, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth, the 7 days of creation. And just to be clear, that this is coming from a Christian's perspective, so I don't know. But but with um but with Lucifer, it's a little more complicated because no one really knew what kind of angel he was. He was considered to be one of the most beloved angels. He was seen as the most beautiful, one of the closest to God, which is probably one of the reasons why he committed the first sin of pride and got banished. But it's confusing because people believed he could have been an archangel like Michael. Some scriptures describe him as being a cherubim, like in the book of Ezekiel. But was it the book of Ezekiel? I think it was. And but Lucifer also, in some contexts, people believe that he was a seraphim because of his closeness to God. But either way, that it's really hard to tell where where they lie, because you would think that they would fit better with the concept level, because Lucifer as the devil is the embodiment of deception and wrathfulness, and basically, when you think about it, Lucifer represents all 7 sins. While Archangel Michael, you can argue, well, actually, if you think of the 7 virtues, a lot of people view Archangel Michael as the virtue of humility. And by that logic, like if you think of the seven princes of hell, if you go down that list, Lucifer's listed as pride and Satan as wrath, which makes no sense because they're basically the same person. Honestly, I don't know what belief system that list came from. But either way, the point is, they are just so overpowered, and their authority on existence itself is really high that I had to place them in the second tier. And of course, above them is, in the highest tier, the highest level, at number 1, it's God. God himself. And some people might get mad at what I mean by this. I mean, you're like, oh, which God are you referring to? I'm like, from a Christian perspective, I'm talking about the Bible God, Jesus Christ, Yahweh, that I am that I am. Like, basically, because even if I wasn't a Christian, honestly, just reading the Bible and looking through the perspective, from my personal perspective, so anyone watching this, don't get angry. From my perspective, it's hard for me to believe that the Bible God couldn't be the God. Because the way he's seen is, there is only one supreme being in the entire universe who created all of existence, the symbolic of perfection, which is why it's hard for me to believe that there are certain mythologies that are polytheistic, meaning there are multiple gods. Right? And that just doesn't make sense to me, in my opinion. So I'm just going off about my personal opinion as a Christian, so don't get mad at what I'm saying. But yeah, I mean, and I'm just gonna flat out say it, Zeus is no god. I'm just gonna say it. Because the Greeks basically believed in the in the Olympians to be more human-like, to be more personal and understanding, which is why the Olympians and Zeus specifically is so flawed, and that just doesn't make any sense to me. So when I think of God, I think of, well, now you could argue the difference between between the Old Testament God, who just seems wrathful and punishes everyone who disobeys him, versus the New Testament God, aka Jesus Christ, who was kind and loving, and people believed, well, that could argue be that the Bible God is actually two separate gods. But that is not true. At least I don't think so. Anyway, so yeah, that's my list, going from 10 to 1. So we have humans, above average humans, super soldiers, peak human, cosmic mortals like Superman and Goku, myths and legends like the gods of myth, and dragons. I like dragons, honestly. Like How to Train Your Dragon is one of my personal favorites, and I hate how some movies and shows depict them as being demonic creatures. They really are not. But then again, Lucifer is described as being the dragon in Revelations, so it's hard for me to defend these creatures, honestly. Some people believe that they're just pure evil who attack on instinct. Some people believe that dragons are just acting on animalistic instinct, and some people view dragons as godlike angelic creatures. So it's hard for me to defend these creatures that I like so much. Anyway, also, I don't know if this comes off as odd to any of you, but I love dragons, and I tend to keep an open mind when looking at different myths and religions. So even if I don't personally believe in it, I do say, hey, okay, I'm willing to see things from your perspective. And I don't know. It's like, I love dragons, but I just can't stand snakes. Like, growing up listening to the creation story of Genesis, and the story of Adam and Eve, and how Lucifer possessed a snake to tempt Eve, and it's like, I'm sorry, I can't look at a snake without thinking that it's the devil watching me. It's where was I? Anyway, so yeah, human, above average, super soldier, peak human, cosmic mortal, myths and legends, the baseline angels, concepts, the seraphim with Michael and Lucifer as added in that tier, and God. So that is basically my my hierarchy, my top 10 list. I don't think I described it well enough, honestly. Right now it's hard for me to. When I came up with this hierarchy, I just did it based on logic, right? I didn't it well, when I was planning to make this video, I didn't know, I wasn't expecting how to explain it. But I hope you guys really understand what this hierarchy is and how it fits into into what I explained so far, like with like my supreme supreme power system of angelic power and demonic power, and how this hierarchy list fits into that. So, angels and myths and legends. I'm just wasting time now, am I? So, seraphim and God. So anyway, that is my list. And so I hope you guys have a good understanding of what I'm trying to do here with my stories, and if it's not, I can try to explain it a little better when I make my top 10 list, when I go in depth of the 10 characters I chose for that list. And so I hope you liked the video. So leave a like, a comment, subscribe, turn on notifications for any new video, and I hope you guys follow my channel and help me build it up, because I really want my stories to be known without having to publish these stories in fear of copyright. So yeah, so if you guys enjoyed my story, then just, keep following, and hopefully I can build this channel up to be something good. So thanks for watching, and see you next time. Bye.